Today's gonna be just a chilled, chatty vlog, life update. First of all, I thought I'd talk about just quickly about my last video. So my last video, I went unexpectedly viral. If I give you a bit of context about the videos that I make, so the videos that I make, when I launch them, they tend to get about 40 to 50 views within the first 24 hours. And I just post them out as I do, and then didn't even think about it, put this one out, and it was just absolutely flying. And within 24 hours, I think it got to about 700 odd views, which never happens on my channel. So this one absolutely flew, and for no reason, I just couldn't work out why. I was sitting there and I was watching this analytics graph all night, and usually my analytics are literally like the Dead Sea, it's like that. So I was watching this graph and it was just doing this, and I was watching it, and I was like, shit, I'm going to go viral. I'm actually going to go viral after 3 years on YouTube. It's finally happening. Of course, I went to sleep because I had to go to work the next day. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, it's stalled 800 views. Because what I'm finding with the algorithm is that after 24 hours, YouTube will shelve my video. And that's what it did with this video as well. And I was like, okay, never mind. We were trending for 24 hours. And just go back to what you were doing, just go back to the content. For that 24 hours, I was flavour of the month, and then I went back to being a normal creator. And it was a little bit sad because I kind of got that feeling of things are going to change now, things are finally happening, but it just wasn't meant to be, and we'll just keep pushing. In other news, I've started reading again. Part of the reason behind me getting happy again was to do things that I used to love and used to enjoy. And I didn't realise for me how much I used to enjoy reading. And I haven't read a book for about, it feels like about 10 years, something like that. And if you're shocked, don't be, because the reasoning behind this was, it feels awful just talking about my English degree again. I used to love reading so much, and honestly, doing an English degree stopped me enjoying reading because we had to read 3 books a week, and this is going to sound really douchey, but I feel like I read it all. I kind of got to the stage where it's like, yeah, I read all the classics, and I stopped reading, and I didn't read for 10 years, and I couldn't read. And what I did about, I don't know, a year ago, I was like, right, everyone on the internet is being really serious and reading all these books. I'm going to get 5 Robert Greene books and I'm going to read them because everyone's talking about them. And it was just too much of a jump. It was just too much of a jump for me to go from reading intensively as part of my learning of my degree to not do any reading for 10 years and then to start picking up these, big text. And then I put them down again. And it was only since when I started moving that I realised how much that reading is almost a hobby, that you have to get your life sorted first before you read. Previously, before, I was so depressed, worrying about where I was going to live. The reading was the last thing that I was thinking about. If you think someone in a war zone, the last thing they're going to think about is just reading a book. And for me, it was that same kind of thing. I was like, I can't face reading again. My life's just in fucking turmoil. Picking up a book is too much. But now that I'm happy and I'm more settled and I'm in a better living environment, I started reading again. This is so cliche. I've started reading like the Bridgerton novels, and I'm really liking them at the moment. And it's just a bit of an escapism because I'm kind of fed up of people on podcasts bragging about what they're reading and how learned they are, when I don't really give a shit. I'm just reading Bridgerton books and I'm having the time of my life. It's so funny because I used to be the person that was like, oh, I hate all those channels that are doing all this cottagecore living, how to have a soft life and all of this. But sometimes I dip into those channels now and again, and I actually quite like them. Oh, I need a drink, hold on. I just spilt water on me. But I don't actually mind those channels now, and part of making myself happier was definitely switching off from the internet more And for me, taking solace in reading, and it is so cliche, but it is true. I've got, what's this one now? I've got the 5th one as well. Like yesterday they had their first kiss, and this is it Julia Quinn, she described this kiss over 4 pages in this such elaborate detail, and I actually found it really, not the scene funny, but I was thinking how women are so different from men. So for women, they will just love to read that, and they will just read that in detail, and it will do more to them than, say, watching porn, and how men are just wired completely different and they will just watch porn, whereas for women, they prefer to read books because they can put themselves in that position. And the men are usually, let's just not go into whole internet rant about soy boys, but basically the men in romantic novels are just masculine. And it just compares to the men around me that aren't masculine. The guy I was talking to, that I talked about in my last video, he was being a bit rude to me because I was saying that I did YouTube, and I've learned I never show people my actual work on YouTube because I know men don't like it, basically. So I just say that I do YouTube. And he was saying, well, what do you do outside YouTube? But unless you're a creator, you don't understand that YouTube, it becomes your world and it takes over your world sometimes. And that does become your hobby in your existence. And unless you are a creator and you're in that industry and you're looking at analytics and you're trying to work out the algorithm, unless you're actually in that industry, it's almost as if normies don't understand because they're not part of that world. I mean, people probably think your videos are low production value. That could take, you could do that in 2 hours. But it's everything that goes behind that. It's the getting ready, it's the doing the makeup, it's the setup of the PC, the lighting, the camera, it's all of that. And then it's, the editing. I still haven't been on a date in ages, and part of the reason for that is because it can't really be helped, but part of the move that I did, I had to move to a seaside town, and UK seaside towns, if you don't know, are quite depressed and deprived areas. A lot of money is not pumped into these areas. They tend to be the last place where governments put money. People tend to live there out of necessity, really, rather than want. And that's kind of the situation that I'm in, is where I'm living in this town. I am living near my family, but I'm not meeting creative types like me. I'm not meeting people that are on my wavelength. I'm not meeting that type of person in a seaside town. And it has impacted my dating and love life because I haven't been able to find anyone that I feel attracted to, that I want to go on a date with. Do you know what? I always have this dream. I have this dream where I'm making the video where I'm like, I've got a boyfriend. And I always have this dream about making this video, but it never seems to happen. It never seems to materialise. I promise one day you will get that video